Rachel's total life implosion came about in this way. One Wednesday morning in early April, she tripped and broke her ankle. She didn't remember falling. One minute she'd been rushing to finish her drill on the agility ladder, and the next she was going down hard. Her scream covered the sound of the snapping bone, a sickening little snick, and she found herself lying flat on her back on the gym mats, right leg elevated, foot lolling strangely. The sweep of early morning air felt divine against Rachel's clammy face. Heavy with humidity as it was, it still felt blessedly cool when compared with the swampy atmosphere inside the gym. She closed her eyes and savored a moment of stillness as she and Donovan waited for Anne to pull the truck around. Donovan hitched Rachel higher against his perfect chest, and she felt herself blushing. Had this been a romance novel, one of her arms would have been flung around Donovan's neck, while the other would have rested against his strong chest. Instead, Rachel's arms had been near her sides when he'd picked her up, and now they lay folded over her stomach. One of her shoulders dug into his chest. In a book, of course, Donovan would not have been so sweaty, and Rachel would have been less frazzled. Her hair would not have been this angry shade of red, nor would her cheeks have been as splotchy. She prayed for Anne to hurry up with the truck, or for a crack in the sidewalk to open and swallow her completely, putting an end to this humiliating experience. Anne pulled to the curb, hopped out, and jogged around to hold the passenger door open while Donovan set Rachel in the cab. He stepped back, and Anne draped a hoodie over Rachel's torso and tucked the ends around her shoulders. Startled, Rachel realized she was shivering. This was strange considering how long it generally took her to cool down after a Coach Donovan workout. The arrival of April meant that even in early mornings, Florida temperatures quickly gave way to pre-summer heat. Before sunrise, Rachel often drove home from the gym with the AC on max. She definitely should not be shivering. As they pulled out of the parking lot, light edged up the eastern horizon, tinging the sky with pale pinks and blues. The clouds, soft and pillowy, had gone slightly gold around the edges. It would have been a perfect moment. Perfect, except that Rachel's life was over. She glared down at her swollen limb. "This is the stupidest thing that's ever happened," she said. "Really?" Anne checked her mirrors and flicked on the turn signal. "You think this is the stupidest thing that's ever happened?" "Well, okay, maybe not the stupidest, but it's close. People are supposed to break their bones when they're little kids, not when they're 34 years old." Rachel was rendered momentarily speechless as the truck bounced over a speed bump. "Ow!" "There's a bottle of aspirin in the glove compartment," Anne told her. "But I think it's mostly disintegrated." "Disintegrated?" "It's been in here for a while." Rachel flipped open the glove compartment and pulled out a clear plastic bottle filled with a clumpy white powder. She switched on the overhead dome light to check for an expiration date, but found the label too cracked and faded to be helpful. "What am I supposed to do with this?" she asked. "Snort it?" She shook the bottle. Most of the powder stayed glued to the sides. Anne puffed out a breath, her patience with Rachel's injury obviously extending only so far. "Wait until we get to the hospital, then. You'll only have to pay $18 a pill or whatever." "Good point." Rachel snapped off the cap and stuck an index finger inside to poke at the clumps. "It's probably not wise to keep mysterious bottles of white powder in your truck," she advised her sister. "If you ever get pulled over and searched, you're going to have some explaining to do." Anne ignored this. Rachel continued. "Police officers always have their eyes open for stuff like this, you know. That's because random traffic stops often turn up all sorts of other crimes, like how they caught Ted Bundy during a routine traffic stop." "Thank you for the lesson in criminology. All I'm saying is that maybe the Memento Killer will run a few red lights on the way to visit his next victim, and then we'll all be able to sleep better at night." "You and your killers," Anne said, shaking her head. "You really should take crime more seriously," Rachel told her. "One day, you might find my advice helpful."